Hey guys, it is USS Wisconsin 94, and today I was going to be doing a little bit of a garage talk today. Right now in the background is my garage. Now this is a video that I recorded that showed all my tanks, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do a live com about it, but this I'm going to be able to. So right now I'm going to be talking about the tanks I have in my garage right now, and then I'm going to be showing you some screenshots to show all of my grinds that I have in the game right now. Now, let's see. We can start out with the T1 Cunningham, and well, it's basically the Tier 1 American light tank of the game. I find it very entertaining. I don't really play Tier 1. I played it a little bit just to get some XP to go around to other lines and things like that. But other than that, I don't really play it much. It's Tier 1. It's the baby tier for all the little people to finally hopefully get up to Tier 10 one day and things like that. But we can move over and we have the T1 E6 X1, which is basically the T1 E6 but with the Xbox One camouflage that they had that came out with it. I personally don't really care for it that much. I have it, I'll keep it. It's going to be in my garage, but I'll play, as you can see, maybe one game worth out of it, but I don't really play low tiers that much. I personally find it really boring. It's not my thing. I prefer higher tiers. Anything under tier 6 I consider to be seal clubbing, to be honest. So I generally play above 7. It feels more comfortable. And then the next tank is going to be my T7 Combat Core. I got this when they did that little thing like a year ago. It was like a little event or something like that where you just sign in and you get a free tank. I got it. I played in the training rooms and the proving grounds. I was like, I don't really care. Again, low tier kind of thing. Don't really care for it that much. It's got a 50 cal on the thing, which is it's pretty entertaining. I keep thinking if it wasn't an auto loader or an auto cannon. It's basically a 50 cal on the thing that it has on the turret and a 30 cal on the right, but other than that, it's really nothing special. Again, low tier thing, not my thing. And we have the Locust. Now this thing is actually pretty fun. I actually put camo on it because it's still pretty entertaining. I got this. I think it was in a. Which was it? When did I get that? I think it was some kind of pack, founder's pack or bundle or whatever, where I got this as well. I don't remember when I got it. The very first game I played, and I got a mastery badge and like 800 damage or something like that. A high damage for a tank like this kind of thing. It was pretty entertaining. But other than that, I don't really use it. Again, low tier thing. Well, there's not much else to say about it. Other than it's low tiers, I don't really care for them much. And then we have something that is probably one of the most overpowered tier 3s in the game. And I hope they never change this. It is the MTLS 1G14. In other words, it's Optimus Prime, and it's awesome. This thing is so much fun. I got this with that Founders Pack with the T95 E2, the Joko Chaffee, or the AMX Chaffee, for people who don't know what that is. And I also got this as well. I wasn't really planning on buying this. I was more interested in the T95 E2 just because I wanted a high tier medium tank with preferential matchmaking and things like that. And I got that with this, and I love this thing. It's so entertaining. It's stupid. It's retarded. It's overpowered as hell. If I get really scumbag like it, if I get really bored, I'll jump down and go into low tiers and play it. But other than that, I really don't play it that much. The next tank is basically the Blitzen. It's basically another MTLS with Christmas lights on it. I kind of skipped it by accident, but well. Same thing as the MTLS low tiers. I played it once kind of thing. But next is the Lycan T71. And this is basically exact copy of the T71 from the tank tree. All you really get is just a little fancy little paint job. When I first saw this, I thought it looked like a cow. It still looks like a cow to me because it has black and white on it. It's actually gray or silver or whatever. But even so, I call it the cow. It's pretty entertaining looking at it. I got one game into it, and it was absolutely entertaining as hell. And I honestly want to go for the. After playing this, I actually want to get the T71. I've been wanting to get the T71 for a while, but the Lycan just. It's basically the same thing, but it's like, might as well kind of thing. It's a tier 7 premium tank, which is awesome. So I get slightly better crew training, a little less silver, but you know what? It's still fun. And the next tank is going to be good old trusty T49. And I love this tank so much. Oh, man. I've only had this in RU251. And I still come back to the T49 because the T49 is just so much fun. It's so fun doing 900 damage. Or even like 2, 3, maybe even 400 damage to people. It's even like 100 at mouses and things like that. It's just fun. It's a really, really troll, unfortunately. But it's still something that I will not sell this tank. Unless. Now this is just right here that Wargaming did on PC and on console is that they bumped it up to tier 9 as it's scout matchmaking. It's basically a tier 9 medium scout match. Tier 9 medium matchmaking. It's basically tier 9 medium. I personally don't like scout matchmaking. I think scout matchmaking needs to be removed or at least changed. That's just me. They said they're going to move it to tier 9 and they were going to do the most dishonorable thing to it. They're getting rid of the derp gun. I'm pissed. I really, really, really hope Wargaming doesn't do that. I really hope they just keep the 152. Screw the 90mm. The 90mm on the T49 is trash, but they said that they're going to give the 90mm a pretty big buff. And they said it's going to have like a fastest firing 90 in the game for light tanks, even to compare to something like the RU251. But we're gonna get the Sheridan, which is gonna be the tier 10, and I really hope if we can have an option to have the 152 on the tier 9, the T49 when it becomes a tier 9, and then the Sheridan at tier 10, I will keep this tank. I will keep it. But if they stupidly decide to get rid of the derp gun, I'm selling my T49, and I'm going to be so pissed because I haven't even got a mastery badge on this thing yet. The mastery badge on this thing is nearly impossible to get unless you get like a 6,000 damage game in bottom tier with matchmaking. But that's my T49. I love it. I will not sell it if they keep the 152. I will sell it if they get rid of it. But I'll give them a chance and I'll try out the 90mm again when they try it. But other than that, I don't really have high hopes for that. But anyway, moving on. And here we go. This is the T95 E2. This was a project that the U.S. military was doing where it has the whole of a T95, the Patton armor. It's like an M48 Patton turret armor with a 90mm. So basically you're a stock Patton with an absolutely pretty bad hull, unfortunately. The hull can troll if you're using your gun depression, but I don't really rely on it that much. It's still a fun tank. I highly recommend to anybody to get it because if you don't want to have like a heavy medium like a super Pershing, then this is a good choice. I would recommend this. It's very good. It's very nice. It has heat rounds. I probably should load more heat rounds in this thing, but fortunately you're only going against tier 9, which is okay. It gets preferential matchmaking. I personally don't really care about that, but yeah, it's just my thing. I really don't care for it. It's a good tank. I highly recommend you buy it if you are a medium player. I'm not that big of a medium player. I prefer heavies and more heavies and some TDs to act like heavies, things like that, but that's just me. On to the next one is going to be the wonderful, the amazing. It's freedom. I bought this one with Independence pack of the Freedom and the Liberté, the FCM50T Liberté, and a T26E4 Super Pershing Freedom. And this is basically what I got, and I'm glad I got this tank. It's better than I thought, although, as people keep saying, put octane. If you can see in the consumables, I have 105 octane. That extra 50 horses and the traverse speed and everything. I strongly recommend that you get it because you're going to need it because this thing is slow. It's so slow. It's not even funny. But, oh, it's a good tank. Although the commander sets, it's funny in how people are. If this was a basic Pershing, which is basically a normal Pershing with just beefed up armor and things like that, and a beefed up gun, not really, but a little bit, they would just shoot at your hull and nobody would care. It's just another Pershing. But once you get a Freedom or the okay, it's the same tank, but if you get this, people are going to try and snipe your commander sets, which is pretty entertaining. Because that's all they can pen. Unless they're like a high penning TD or a super high penning T34, they're not going to have a very good chance of penning in this thing. It's pretty entertaining watching people shoot at my hull like that and just bouncing for days. And then they hit the little machine gun port on the right side for somehow they get it, but it's a good tank. I'd recommend you get it, but I'd be prepared. Your commander is going to be dead a lot in this thing, so watch out for that. The next we have is the M46 Patton. I got this like a couple months ago, and I love it. It was a while. I had it for a while, but I didn't really play it that much just because I didn't have any stock grinds in a while, and ooh, that was not fun. But once you got it upgraded enough to you get the good 90, and you basically have everything upgraded except for gun, it's basically a better Pershing. I personally think what they should do with this line, I think they should remove the Pershing and turn it into a premium tank, which is basically the M46 KR, which is basically a Pershing Patton combo. And drop this down to tier 8. Give it the 90mm. The M48 A1 Patton, which is the tier 10. Drop that down to tier 9. And bring out the M60A3 for the tier 10. Because then, oh man, that'd be nice to have the M60A3. It'd be nice to have a American medium that actually has some armor besides the jumbo. It's a good tank. The difference between a 90mm and the 105, oh my god, it's light and day kind of thing. I love it. It's so much fun. The armor, not reliable at all. You might be able to get a little troll bounce off the mantle, on the very edges of the mantle and things like that. Well, I don't think that's going to help you much, but it's a good tank. I'm still going to go for the M48 Patton because I want the Patton. It's like I don't have a tier 10 medium, and the Patton would be a good shot to go for. But that's basically it for the Patton. And next up is the one, the only. It's the T34. And oh baby, this is my first premium tank I bought in the game before Council even showed up. I apologize. Something stuck in the back of my throat. It's annoying. And this is my very first premium tank. I love it. It's amazing. There's still things about it is like, if you love the T29, the T30, especially with the T30 with a 120 or something like that, just one of those two tanks, and you have it, here you go. This is the perfect opportunity if you want to have something at tier 8 where you can make credits, where you can beat on tier 6s. Its frontal hull is shit. I know people keep whining and complaining to me about that. Say, oh, just go get the IS-6. Well, honestly, I don't want the IS-6. I think it's retarded. I think it's idiot-proof. I love the T-34. It just fits with me. It's basically the kind of tank that I want to have. And I have with the T-29, the T-30, and the T-34. It's absolutely amazing. All three of them are really good. The T-34, it's got the highest damage in its class. It's got the highest pen of its class. And it's just wonderful. But the reload, unfortunately, is slow. The mobility, from what I've seen on PC back before they turn it, before the T-30 and the T-34 were the Tier 9 and 10 heavy tanks. Before the M103 and the T110E5 came out, these were the Tier 9 and the Tier 10 heavies of the line. But then they changed them and brought them down to Tier 8 and Tier 9. They really gave the T-34 the nerf bat, unfortunately. I personally would ask for 3 kinds of buffs. It would be to its gun stats, mostly its reload, its dispersion. It's just really, really annoying, and just how bad the dispersion is. I have a bunch of crews that you'll see on the next tank as I move them, and you'll see just how many crews I have. It's my best crew in the game. I would also like for them to buff the mobility, because the mobility on this thing is absolutely god-awful. They did give it a buff on PC and on Blitz, but it was a nice buff, but I think they should have gone more and buffed the reload, to be honest. But that's just me. Ow. And another thing would be the turn traverse. The turn traverse of this thing is unbelievably slow. It is 18 degrees. I think they should buff this tank. With all the power creep that's going on, especially on PC, and now that Wargaming has said that the tanks like the T26 E5 and the AMX M449 and things like that, they're coming to console as well. And those tanks are overpowered. They're basically doing a serious pay-to-win type bull on the game, unfortunately, which is really unfortunate. But that is the T-34. If you are good, or you just like tanks like the T-29 or the T-30, get the T-34. If you like that kind of hold down playstyle, then get it. Although I would not recommend it for new players because, well, just get some experience in things like that. But well, that's my T-34. I will always have this tank. It's absolutely glorious. And here we have is the big, the mighty, it's the mutant. M6A2E1 mutant. This thing, I remember when it first came out, oh my god, I hated it so much. The armor on the mutant was god-awful before they changed it. They actually gave it a big buff that made it 10 times better armor. I rage sold it because I got so sick and tired of everyone penning me with standard rounds. I basically just rage quit some of these games, and I rage sold it. And it wasn't until I learned that it was like 2 weeks before one of the updates came, and they actually buffed the mutant. And that is when I asked Rybot. I asked her, like, hey, I rage sold my mutant. I was wondering if she could get it back, and she did. And it was great. Not even the first game, and I sold it again by accident. I was using my friend's controller. I was on his Xbox because I was checking out my mutant for the first time in like over a year. I was trying to look at over some of the camos and things like that, but I went too far, and I sold it. I don't know how I did that. I don't know. I still can't figure it out today. And it took like almost another week till I got it. It wasn't a week. It was like 3 days till I got it back. Cause I asked support. I was like, I got it back, and I sold it accidentally, so I wasn't very happy. So I had to use a ticket on that. I was not happy about that, unfortunately. But this thing is great. The armor, you can bully even some of the tier 9 heavies and TDs with this thing. If you get it right, you can laugh at T30s and Object 704s bouncing off your armor. And it's absolutely hilarious when these guys are bouncing off your armor and you just bounce like 750 alpha, and they don't know what to do. They're freaking out. They don't have a clue what to do. It's hilarious. I think it's coming out right now with a little bundle. It's like that T14, the T34, and the Mutant bundle, and it's like 15,000 gold right now that Wargaming has. If you can, buy it. I recommend. One thing I'm going to tell everyone right now. I should have told everyone right now at the start of the video is that before you buy a tank, before you go down the line, make sure to research things. Learn the tank, understand it, learn videos and guides, and get people who play the tank and love it and who understand it, and just see what they have and what they know and what they like about it, so that you can understand, have a better understanding, instead of buying a $50 tank, playing it, calling it terrible because you didn't understand the play style. Excuse me. But as you can see from my crew, that is Roger Thorough. Say hi to everybody, Roger. This guy, he's been with me since the start of the game, ever since I bought my T34. It's like I've used him in different crews and whatnot, but I usually just have him in my T34. When I get the M103 and the E5, I might put Roger in the M103 and the E5. One thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to train him, but I'm not going to actually give him another crew skill or something like that. I'm just going to put him in there and use him while grinding for tanks like the M103 to the E5 and things like that. But that's what it is right now. I don't have the XP or silver for that right now, unfortunately. So next tank. Here we go. And this is this is my second tier 10. This is my second tier 10 I have in the game. It is infuriating, one of the most imbalanced tanks in the game. It's a T57 heavy. This thing is incredibly dumb. It's a 4-shot autoloader with basically the fastest firing autoloader in the game, besides the incredible Wargaming's most favorite tank on the game, the Waffle U100. And one thing I'm going to ask for Wargaming is, God, I'm starting to get sick. Awesome. I would ask them that they give it the armor buff that PC got, with basically an M103 hull, a buffed M103 hull, and a little better armor on it. You guys can't see it right now, unfortunately, because we don't have that change. One thing I would ask is to nerf the reload down to 27 seconds. And also, can we please get some more ammo on this thing? Can we please get like 48 rounds of ammo? Why does something like the AMX 50B get like 60? Like 50 or 60, while this gets a wimpy little 36. They want to talk about balancing things, but no, that's terrible. That's retarded balancing Wargaming. Nice try. I originally was not planning to go for the T57 heavy. I was just at the T49. I was just playing that, and I finally got the XP for the T54 E1. And I was like, I got 4 million silver. I got the silver to buy it, so might as well. And I did. And, oh my god, the T54 E1, it's a good tank with the 105. The 90mm is absolute garbage. Don't buy it. Like, please don't do that. It's absolutely terrible. What else? I really got nothing much else about this other than that it's a good tank. I would not recommend it to people who are not very good or have patience to being autoloaders. I got my patience playing the T49 and waiting to jump out and derp someone for 900 damage. That's how I learned to be patient with it, and how I got that patience for tanks like the T54E1, where you can just pop out of the side, shoot all 4 clips, shoot all 4 rounds, and then run away and go and reload. With a T57, you now have the somewhat trollish armor, but even more, you now have the you now have the reload to be there for about 20 seconds and take a couple of shots, maybe bounce a couple rounds, and finally get reloaded, and then start laughing as you dish 1,600 damage in like 6 seconds. It's pretty insane. It's pretty retarded. But that's the T57 Heavy. I will not sell this. I had the option between this and the IS-4, and I bought this instead. It's pretty entertaining, but I think I could use a buff and a nerf. I know people like to misread what I say a lot, because unfortunately people aren't very smart. I think this thing should have a reload nerf down to 27 seconds. I think it should get the armor buff from PC, but I also think it should get some more ammo as well. But that's just me, personally. Anyway, so on to the next tank, which is going to be my Scorpion. And here we go. I bought this with, what came with it? I think it was a T28 concept that you have, which is the next tank after this. And this thing is basically a little cockroach. It's like an American E25, but it's nowhere near as broken. It's nowhere near as overpowered as the E25 is. This thing has no armor. You sneeze or fart on this thing, it will take damage. It's that bad armor. I don't really play it that much because I personally am not a fan of camo TDs. It's not my thing. I personally get really bored with that stuff, but that's just me. The next tank, which arguably is one of the more overpowered. Yeah, I think overpowered is right. When you get this thing at the right angle, not this angle as you can see right here, but a little more. So if you can get a wall or a building and hide the big old titty on the side, the big old machine gun port right there, if you can hide that and and find a wall or something like that and stay there, you will screw with people. Not many people are going to be able to pen your lower plate or anything really. This thing is retardedly overpowered. Although it's not retardedly overpowered. It's a little overpowered, but it's not E25 levels and whatnot. But that's the T28 concept. I love this thing. I would recommend that you get it. It's a lot of fun. And the next tank is by far my favorite Tier 9 in the game. It's the one, the only. It's the T30. I love this thing. This thing is my very first Tier 9 in the game. It is a T34 and a T29 on steroids. You think that the T29 is good? You think the T34 is good? You bring out this baby, and those things will cry to their mamas. This thing used to be the Tier 10 American Heavy Tank on PC years ago, back when the game first started out. And this thing, it got a pretty big nerf to put it as a TD. I don't know why Wargaming decided to have this as a TD instead of a heavy tank. I don't remember. I think it's because they wanted something for the E4 line and they didn't have anything, so they chose the T30. This is not, I repeat, this is not a tank destroyer. Alright? People will have a very misunderstanding, a very big misunderstanding of how this is a TD. This is not a TD. This is a heavy tank. Stop calling it a tank destroyer. It's not a TD. It's a heavy. Play it like a heavy. Playing with a chai sniping camo bullshit is incredibly boring. I personally would have rammer, optics, and GLD on this thing and play it like a heavy tank. and it's absolutely glorious playing it like a heavy tank. 155 that will make tier 10s wet themselves. Unfortunately, the reload on this thing is absolutely god awful, so I would not recommend trying that. I would not try and do a brawl unless you're going with another tank. And what else? I think there's something else, but I can't really remember. What else? The whole, for some reason, Wargaming hasn't changed this yet. But the hull for the T29, the T34, and the T30, they all have the exact same hulls. It's basically one tank. The T30 was the original, then it was the T29, and then I think it was the T34, which is basically a T30 with a 120 on it. It's a good tank. They're all good. Highly recommend it. I personally did not like the T29 as much. I don't know why it didn't work for me. I think it was because the T34 spoiled me with the alpha and damage and things like that, but whatever. It's got 10 degrees of gun pressure. The armor is good. The turret armor is great, actually. On the very top of the roof, on the very front, is like 51 millimeters. So I've had IS-3s and a whole bunch of other tanks just start bouncing off that. And I didn't even realize that Wargaming had changed this until like 2 or 3 months ago. I didn't realize that they did that. And I hope something for both the T34 and the T30. I really wish Wargaming would change the roof on the tank, on the turret. I really wish you would buff it to like 42 millimeters, like 40. If they could buff it to 44 millimeters, so I could basically become a hold down god, that would be great, because having 38 millimeters on the roof is really, really bad. Everything will get upend. I just had a game that I recorded and I put up like yesterday where my T30, where I was overmatching the turret armor of the T30 and the T34, and I was just smacking them around because they unfortunately didn't understand. It's like, I have a 155. Your armor is 38. I will overmatch that every day, any day. But it's a good tank. I highly recommend it. It's basically just like the T34 and T29. If you like that kind of playstyle, I would highly recommend going for it. But the next tank is probably it is the T110E4. This is my very first Tier 10 in the game. Tank destroyers are very controversial in the game. Either people love them or people hate them. I'm in the middle, and I'm glad and happy to be in the middle. I think Tier 10 TDs are overpowered. But that's generally what my problem with tanks like the Waffle and the Hestar and the 268 and the E3. Yes, I know. I didn't include the E4. Yes, I know. The T110E4 is not overpowered. The tank is not overpowered. The gun on it is retardedly overpowered and needs to be nerfed. This is something that I've been trying to get people to understand, but again, once people hear Tier 10 TD, they go apeshit, and then they try and disavow you because you own a Tier 10 TD. But to those people, I say, fuck off, okay? People want to give me shit about having a Tier 10 TD, but yet, if I say anything, if they have a Tier 10 Russian medium, I can't say anything about it because of reasons. Anyway, this thing is next in line to the T30. Is it an upgrade from the T30? Absolutely. However, there are some problems with it that I really wish Wargaming would change. One of them is this is the demon love child of a E3 and the E5. And that is part of the reason of why I wanted to get it. This thing is basically what everyone says is an American E100. And I would agree with that. But you know what? I still would choose this over the E100. The E100 basically just has somewhat better armor and more HP. That's it. And it's also, what, like another 5 feet taller, so no thanks. One thing I would ask Wargaming to change with the E4 is a couple things. One of them is, can we please give it a fully traversable turret? Right on the back is the engine deck. You guys can't unfortunately see it, but behind the turret is the engine deck, which is basically a giant exhaust for the tank. It's just an exhaust. The E3, E4, and E5 all have the exact same holes. It's basically a modified M103 hole. It's basically what it is. I would ask Wargaming to do two things to this tank. One is give it a fully traversable turret so you can go a full 360 degrees, like the T30, and give it 8 degrees in gun depression, and 12 degrees of elevation, 15 degrees of elevation. If I could have those two things, I will take a view range nerf and I'll take the alpha nerf. If you do that, then I will not have a problem with them nerfing the E4, or at least the alpha of it. That's something that people don't really understand, which is sad. And a bit unfortunate because this thing is great, but stop playing it like a TD. Stop camo sniping. Stop doing that. Play it basically like an E100. You're a frontline brawler. It's a lot of fun playing this thing. I'm honestly not sure how to convince people of this, but people are people. You can't convince them things if they don't like it or understand it, but whatever. Onward to the next tank, which is... Oh. The next tank, if it'll play, it's a scumbag. It is the M4043. I have a scumbag. I am a scumbag. And you know what? I don't give a shit. Fuck Artie in this game. Fuck it. Balance. There's no such thing as balance. And my main problem with Artie is the 10 rounds of premium ammo that it gets. Premium HE needs to be removed from Artie. Lower the splash so that Artie can't have more than like 6.5 meters of splash. Or I think that's like, what is 6.5 meters in the US? I think it's like 20. I think it's like 20 feet or something like that. And then checking my phone, see if it's on here. Length. Okay, this isn't fucking working. Okay. 6.5 meters. 6.5 is... Oh, for fuck's sake. 6.5 meters. If it'll let me fucking do it. It is... Yeah, it's 20 feet. A little over 20 feet. I don't think they should have premium HE. I know Artie players like to say how, oh, you should be Artie safe. You need to learn how to stay behind windows and hills and things like that. Yeah, that's a load of bullshit. With premium ammo, I can reach around that fucking house and splash them for 600 because reasons. It's retarded. I am going to go for the T92. I am not going to play the M53 55, the skill cannon. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to buy it. Hell, I'm going to free XP the skill cannon. Because, honestly, an idea from Fusion Star, who is a friend of mine, I think he's a friend, I consider him a friend, I don't know, is I think they should switch the M43 and the M53. I think they should switch them around for tier, to be, M43 would be the tier 9, and the M55 would be the tier 8. But the M53-55 would lose its it would lose its 203mm gun, the 6-inch gun. No, it's actually an 8-inch gun. It would lose the 8-inch gun and get 175 instead as a secondary gun. And the N43 would better prepare you for the T92 and things like that. That is what I think they should do, to be honest. But enough about that, and let's keep going to the next tank, which is the Cromwell Knight. I'm going to be honest, I did not actually buy this tank. Somebody on the forums, I don't remember who, and I apologize if I forget your name, If you can remind me, that'd be great because I can remember it. I said I wanted this tank, but I didn't have the money. And then a little later, the next day, the guy sent me a message saying, "Hey, here's like 6,500 gold." The guy gave me like $30 worth of gold, and I was like, "Wait, what? You're giving me gold? Why are you giving me gold?" He's like, "I was like, because he said that he was a fellow Battleship fan, and because he liked my channel and things like that, and he likes what I say." And I was like, "Really? Is okay?" And so I bought it. And this thing, it's a good tank. It's basically a Cromwell. It's basically a Cromwell with a 75, with a weaker 75. And if you don't have one, you should have bought it. The paint job is... it's the British flag, which I personally don't really care for. Although, it does have blue, so I'm okay with that. I'd recommend that you buy it. And things like that. Basically all I gotta say is buy it. It's basically just another Cromwell. If you have the chance to get it, buy it. And the next tank is gonna be the Centennial T95. This was a part of the events mode that they had a couple months ago where you could earn it for free. I did not earn it for free, unfortunately. It was such a pain in the ass trying to earn this thing for free. I unfortunately did not buy this. I unfortunately bought this. If you don't have one, I'd recommend that you do buy it because it is worth it. Unfortunately, you have the Chieftain hull, or the Tier 10 Chieftain, and you also have the T95 turret with a 90mm. I think it's like the T95E5, I think? Or the 4? I don't remember. I apologize, I don't remember that. But it is a good tank. It's got 10 degrees of gun depression, just like the normal T95 turret does. It's a good tank. I recommend that you buy it. And things like that. Its hull is trash. The upper plate is actually a bit trollish. The lower plate is trash, and the hull armor on the sides and the rear is trash. Do not try and brawl with this thing. Don't try and go against like a T-34 or T-30, something like that, because they will ruin your day. If you try to side scrape, they will ruin you. Don't try that. I'm at 40 minutes, so I should probably speed this up a little bit. Next up is the Next up is the RU-251. The Spa Panzer RU-251. I sold this tank because I really needed the money to buy a T-57 Heavy. And I've been wanting to get one back because I'd like to go for the Leopard 1. This thing is a lot of fun. It's a good tank. I personally like this tank, but there are some things that annoys me about it. One is the gun depression. The gun depression on the side is 10 degrees, which is great. The gun depression on the front, however, is 6 degrees. Having it jump from 6 to 10 and 10 to 6 is very annoying, and something that I personally find to be very annoying, unfortunately. I hear when they get tier 10 lights that they're going to actually change it so it's 10 degrees all around except for the very rear of the tank. I don't know if that's true. I hope it is, because that would be absolutely glorious. But it's a good tank. You're basically driving a miniature Leopard. You're basically driving a mini Leopard 1. That's basically all I can give you on that one, because I gotta start hurrying up a little bit. The next tank is gonna be the Tiger 1 Hammer. This is basically a slightly more balanced Tiger. I said slightly. I didn't actually say it was more. It's basically a Tiger with a worse engine. And a little faster turret. And I think a couple other things. But other than that, it's basically just another Tiger. I got this thing. I earned this thing. It was a bit of a pain, but I earned it. I got it. I played it a little bit. It's a good tank. It's basically just another Tiger. It's basically what it is. The Tiger, in my opinion, is overpowered. Why? Well, because it's got the firepower and the HP to deal with other things. It doesn't have the armor. The armor is trash. Don't rely on the armor. But it's just one of those things where I think it should have a nerf to its rate of fire. It can keep the 1500 HP and 1550 in the hammer, but it should lose the rate of fire to be more like a Tiger P. Anyway. Next up is the Tiger P, which is basically another Tiger, but it's a lot better balanced. Generally for the fact that it doesn't have an incredibly retarded fire rate. They buffed them both, but they buffed the HP of the Tiger P, but they didn't really buff anything else, I think. They gave the Tiger a huge buff to its rate of fire, which I think it got overbuffed, to be honest. But that's just me. It's a Tiger with more armor. I think it was the Porsche design. I think this is the Porsche design. I don't remember. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Porsche. Anyway. It's a pretty slow tank. I just played it a couple days ago, and I actually had a pretty good game in it. But the armor is not very good. It's 200 millimeters, which is nice, but it's not very reliable, especially when you're going up against players. And there's so many weak points with this thing, unfortunately. But that's all I'm going to say on that. Next tank is going to be the Slava. Yes, it's the Slava. Did you get it? Did you get the pun? Slava, the Slava. Anyway. Terrible joke, I know. Leave me alone. This thing is actually not that bad of a tank. Unfortunately, again, with power creep, I really hope that we get the PC buff that it got from PC, because I personally don't think we should blindly follow PC, but I think this is one of those times where I think we should follow PC. The Lava needs a buff. It is power creep. I'm just going to say about that. The next is the E25. It's a cockroach. Fuck the E25. It's overpowered. The AMX Chaffee. It's a good tank. It's the 1375 and the Chaffee hole. Good tank. I'd recommend you buy it. I apologize if I'm going really fast, but I'm at 47 minutes and I got other things to do. I want to show you guys. The CDC, I basically have the HML, the size of a heavy tank, the gun of a medium, and the speed of a light. It has no armor. Don't rely on it. The Liberté, again, part of the Founders Pack. It's very French. Oh, okay, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's a good tank. I'd recommend it. I personally am not a big heavium guy. It's not my thing. Mobility is great, but I'd rather trade that mobility for a little bit better armor. Basically, the T10, which I'll show you guys. The next tank is the T3488. This thing is a definition of overpowered. It's overpowered. It truly is overpowered. It's the T3485 with the 88 from the Vickers 3601H or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember the name. It's overpowered. I recommend you buy it because you will seal club for days in this thing. It's dumb. The next is the T3485. Between this, the Cromwell, the Easy 8, and the Jumbo, I would say that I would choose this and the Jumbo over the Easy 8 and the Cromwell. Mainly for the fact that the extra bit of alpha just feels so much better. However, I think it should get a buff to its reload to like 5.5 seconds base reload instead of 6, but that's just me. Next is the IS-2, which is basically another IS. I bought this thing. I'm glad I did because I trained a couple crews for my Russian tanks on this thing. Especially for my ST1, the T10, and the 85. I'm glad I did. It's a good tank. It's basically the Russian and Chinese IS-2. That's basically what it is. You get an upgraded hull. I don't really consider it to be that big of an upgrade. I consider it to be more of a downgrade. It's just more armor, which is nice, but it's not as effective as it should be. But that's just me. Good tank. Next is the T10. This, like I said before, is a heavium. I personally don't like this tank that much. This is a me kind of problem. This is a human error kind of thing. It's not the tank. It's partially the tank, but it's more my fault. It's not my kind of play style. The mobility and speed on this thing is absolutely great. The armor is trash. You don't get that many ammo. You don't have that much ammo either. I personally would rather use the ST1 instead of this. The The final tank I have is the Type 58. I'm going for the 113 line because mainly I want the IS2 and I want the Wheezy 114 because a Tier 9 IS7 because laws. Anyway, that is it for this part. The next thing I will be showing you guys is the screenshots I took of tanks. About the Type 58. I don't like it. It's not that good. Get the T-34-85 instead. It's a much better tank. Anyway. Now we're going to go over to the screenshots that I have. And here we go. This is basically all the screenshots I took earlier this week, or last week, showing the results I have of all my tanks in the garage and in the tech tree. This is where I am right now for the American line. I am going for the T92, as I said before. I have the 57, I have the E4. I'm not going for the E3. The T95 AT, the Tier 7, it's not good. Not good at all. I don't care about the T28, the T95, or the E3. I'm going for the M48 Patton, as I said. I will go for the E5 sooner or later, but unfortunately I kind of need to get the XP for the M103 first. And if I were to get the M103, I really hope, as soon as I do, they would buff the armor like they did on PC. That'd be great. But, that's basically what I got from the American line. I will be going for the T67. What? Numbers? The T71 Sunday. I don't know when, but the next is going to be the British line. I basically have nothing for the British line except for going to the comments. I played the comment. I played like 10 games in it. I think 5 or 10 games, and I don't like it. I don't like pew pew guns. I don't like the low caliber. I prefer alpha over rate of fire. That's just me. I might go for the Centennial. I might go for the Cax. I'll definitely be going for the Conqueror and the Chieftain, but the rest of the line, I really could care less for. Yeah, I really could care less for it. And here's the Chinese line. As you can see, I need about another 40,000 XP to go for the IS-2. But main thing I'm going for is the T-34-1. The T-34-1 looks pretty interesting. The light tanks, the Wheezy 113. Really? The Wheezy 132 and the Wheezy 131. I want them both. I don't really have much of an interest in the T-10. I would like to get the T-34-3 and the Wheezy 111. The Tier 8 and medium and heavy tank. Those are the tanks I'd like to get for the premiums. I might buy the Type 64. That looks pretty entertaining. But anyway, I'll also be getting the Wheezy 114. You gotta put more ones in it because it won't. The tank won't work if you don't, and if you only have 4 4s. You gotta put a bunch more ones in it. Anyway, the 113 looks pretty interesting, especially if they gave it the buff that it got on PC. The buff on PC is absolutely insane. The next up is the French line. Again, I'm only up to the... Okay, I guess I didn't save it again. I'm only up to the AMX-12T. I'm not going to play that piece of shit. It's a piece of shit. Between that and the Joko Chaffee, I'd rather drive the Joko Chaffee. I will be going... I might go for the 50B. For the mediums and the lights, I don't know. That's my phone. Shut up, phone. Fuck the bat chat. Fuck the French artillery, except for the 55. 155, 55, the Tier 9. That looks pretty entertaining. The Foch 155. Pardon me. The Foch 155 is still broken. It's a fucking autoloader with a 155. It's dumb. As for the Germans, tanks I like on this line is the VK3001P. That is a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. I can't believe how much fun I had in that thing. I should buy it back is what I should do. The Spooky Spice SP1C, the Tier 7 light tank, that was a lot of fun. The Tiger, I don't really care for it. I will be going for the E75 and the E100. I will be going for the Leopard. I know that the Grill 15 is coming soon. Unfortunately, the Waffle is not. Unfortunately. Anyway, the Grill 15 is coming. I might go for that and the Jagdpanzer E100, the Jaegeru. I have an interest in the Grill 15, the Jagdpanzer E100, the Jaegeru, the Maus, the E100, and the Leopard 1. And maybe the E50M, but probably not. And E75 and things like that. But whatever. The Japanese line, I don't care for the Japanese line except for the STB1 and the STA2. The STA2 looks fun. The Japanese heavy, as I've explained in a previous video, I have no interest in. None. They're dumb. End of the story. Now we're on to the Russians, or the Soviets, or whatever you'd like to call it. Whatever. For Tier 10, I will be going for the IS-7 and IS-4. I will not choose which one for you to pick. That's up to you. I personally want them both. The Russian mediums, I think I'll go up to the T44 and stop there. Because the T54, the 432, the 416, they all have the same gun, and they all have heat as a premium round, which makes no fucking sense. Wargaming, you really should change that to APCR. And the Russian Easiums, like 62.8 and 140, are bullshit. The 430 is less bullshit, but whatever. That is basically all I got for today. This video is almost at an hour, so that's nice. I got a lot of plans. Unfortunately, not having internet is not very fun. Anyway, that is the line. That is it, guys. That is the plan for the lines that I have. And, well, if you're able to watch this for the whole hour, I'm not sure why would you, but okay. It's your thing. Anyway, so I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. So, later.